Hello, and welcome to Essential Tech Skills and Insights. I wanted to share with you today a little bit about my journey. So, going from an engineer who would work evening shifts from 3 to midnight, and about 7 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock, is when everyone else from my department would leave. So I was left to my own vices for about 6 hours every single shift. Now, to go from that, and then I stayed in that position for about 9 months, and within 9 months, I actually was able to get a completely different position. Actually, I had 2 different positions presented to me at the time that I could have chose from, and I can tell you that there were people that were on the staff longer than I had been. There were people that had better skills than I did. They had more qualifications, more certifications, and more experience. So what is it that made me different? I'm not twice as smart. I'm not twice as good as an electrician as somebody, but I can tell you what I did throughout those 8 months that really gave me the opportunity to take the next level, and then going from the next level to the other one, so on and so forth. So during that period, when I was working evenings, my main jobs were everything from plunging toilets to working on commercial kitchen equipment. And I really didn't know a lot about electrical systems, HVAC. I remember it being very foreign to me in a lot of respects. And what I did different than a lot of other people wasn't staggering, it wasn't earth-shattering, and just like we talked about in how to get promoted, the one thing I did better than everybody else was taking initiative. So every day our boss would give us a stack of work orders, and I wouldn't sit in the office and talk trash for an excessive amount of time. I mean, you want to be cordial and you want to be part of the team and you want to assimilate, absolutely, which I did, and I made friends. But I also was there to do a job. I knew that this role, plunging toilets, you plunge a few toilets and you say, okay, I've had enough of this. I don't want to do this anymore. What can I do to become a higher skilled, higher valued individual to where this is no longer part of my repertoire? I remember vividly that there was a gentleman on my team. I start doing all my work orders. I'm going through. He stops me and he says, hey, you're making the rest of us look bad by working harder than everybody else. And I thought, well, I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to make anybody look bad, and I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm just literally completing the work as it comes in because I don't like having a stack of things to do. I just want to get it done, staying busy, especially during the evenings. So that was one thing I did, and we talked about that earlier, taking initiative. From there, learning a lot about these people on the staff, he actually came up to me later and he said, you seriously need to slow down. And I said, okay, sure, right? So I just obviously wanted to avoid that guy. And then there was a point where 3 of us got put on a specific project. It was a really large project where we were rebuilding a large staircase with these heavy timbers. And we start doing it, I start cleaning out, I start piloting a lot of these holes and start sanding things down. He tells me to slow down again. And I said, well, what's happening? And he said, hey, this is a 2-week project. And I said, no, it's not. This is a 3-day project at most. And he said, no, you don't understand. Our goal is to put udders on everything. And I said, udders? I don't get it. Well, what do you mean? He said, we want to milk it for as long as we possibly can because we want this to drag on. And I realized quickly that, wait a minute, this guy's about 15 years older than me. He's been in this position for about 5 years, and he wants me to slow down and do all these other things. I'm like, this is not somebody I want to work around. I'll fast forward about that. I'll come back to that. You're going to like what happens at the end there. So, taking initiative. There's a lot of people on your team that are not there to advance their career. They're just there to simply show up every day, punch in and punch out. And again, like we mentioned, that's okay too. You need people like that. But that's not for you, and that's not who you are. So don't be discouraged by that. I kind of take it as a good thing, right? There's two different types of pain in this world. One, the type of pain that hurts you, right? Let's say you experience a loss, or it's traumatic, or someone's negative towards you or yelling at you, right? That's a negative pain. And then there's a pain like a gym pain, right? Where your muscles are sore and they hurt because you're challenging them and you're growing. Well, that's the same type of pain I was feeling there, and the same type of pain you're likely going to feel throughout your career. Is that there are going to be people that tell you, don't bother, it's not worth it, there's no point in doing the extra work or the extra mile or taking extra pride in it. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is 100% of the way. So keep doing that. You're going to have some people that are negative. Keep them away from you. Get them out of your headspace. Don't bring it up the flagpole. It may not be necessary because it's just a bad hire on their part. They will eventually fizzle out and go away. Second, so during my evenings, I had a lot of alone time, right? And as I mentioned earlier, during the day, I really wanted to get as much work done as I could with the remainder of the team there because they were resources that I didn't have access to throughout the evening. So I made sure that I scheduled my time accordingly. I was very organized with my daily tasks. So if I had time, I needed to get FaceTime with, let's say we had an electrician on site or an HVAC person. I would make sure that not only would I ask for their help and shadow them on any larger projects that they had going on, but I would make sure that I took advantage of the resources that were there while they were there, because I knew, again, I was going to spend the majority of my time, over 50% of my time in most cases, alone to my own vices. And that's okay, but it meant that if I got stuck on something, I had to wait till the next day, which I didn't want to do. Well, what that created was a really great learning environment for me. I'll never forget shadowing a gentleman who was a HVAC tech, and we were replacing a compressor for a blast chiller. And I just remember being fascinated by this whole program. And while we're there, he's brazing in a new line, he's evacuating the system, he's putting in there, and everything was so complex and it looked so cool to me. And while we're there, about 50% of the way through the project, I get a call to guess what? Go fix a toilet, to go plunge a toilet. And I'm thinking, okay, this is not my future. I don't want to do this anymore. So I made a pact to myself. I said, I can't plunge toilets for much longer. Realizing that I had 50% of the night free, I also asked the boss about a learning opportunity. And I said, hey, what are some ways that I can either cross-train with other individuals? Do we have an educational program that's in place? And he said, yeah, by the way, we do have education in place. So fast forward again. What I did with my spare time during those evenings, well, I would get 90% of my work completed during the day while everyone was there. And during the evenings, I asked him if it would be okay if I spent time, reading on my lunch break, whatever it was. Truthfully, I spent a lot more time than that, but he was okay with it because I got all my work done. I was responsive to calls as they came in. This was not a hospitality environment by way of like hotels or guest rooms. So I really just had huge kitchens and refrigeration as well as the facility overall to maintain. So I didn't get a lot of calls. I would get calls from time to time from security. And obviously I can just close the book and come back to that point later, but my job was obviously number one, and then education. So during that time that I was there, I really took advantage of it and I maximized it. This was the time iPhones were just coming out, so I had an iPod, and on that iPod, I would pull up YouTube videos, and I'd be walking around with my radio in one ear and the headphone in the other one, and I'd just be listening to things, whether it was Tony Robbins on how to get more out of your life or trade specific. It was just people talking about it. Even though I wasn't watching the video and I'm walking around, I'm still listening to these things, and I'm just ingraining it in me. So the insights are: make sure that you continue to take initiative. Do not get discouraged by other people's behavior. I can tell you that other people on your team that have been there for a long time, they have their place. Don't try and change them. Value their feedback to a point. Realize that whatever goals you have, you need to be very specific with who you elect to share them with, because not everybody's going to believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself, and making sure you have a positive group of people that want the best for you and want you to succeed. going back to the gentleman that kept telling me to put udders on things, well, after I got promoted and go to the other position, when I was in this other position for about a month, I get a phone call, and it's from this guy, and he says, "Hey, Nick, congrats on the new job." I say, "Hey, well, thank you so much." And it was within the same company, just a different position. So we still had access to each other. He said, "Congrats on the new job." "Oh, thank you so much." He said, "So when are you going to hire me?" And I thought, yeah, right. Why would I possibly hire you? You're telling me to put udders on things. The projects take too long, and I'm making everybody look bad. You're good where you are. So really funny that he came full circle and wanted me to hire him. But what that means for you, again, what we said, you need to be careful with who you share your visions and dreams with, because not everybody is going to believe in you. Not everybody has the same goals as you. However, you can find those people who on your team want more for themselves. Now, whether that's in a specific trade or outside that into a different career field, that's okay too. Hang around people that are goal-oriented, that are go-getters, that are prideful in their work and have meaning, because as they say, you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're spending time with quality people, whether that's on YouTube, on books, or your boss or peers within your organization, outside your organization, and any other associations that you affiliate with, those are the people you want to hang around with, because they're going to push you next level. So the insights to that are they will help you develop your skills quicker by shadowing, by learning, and making sure you take the most advantage of your time to ensure that you're putting your career on the fastest track as possible. We're all given the same amount of hours in a day, and it's how we spend them, and making sure you're spending them wisely and that you're providing an extreme amount of value for the job that you're doing. It's going to be the biggest impact for your career. So I hope that's insightful. I've done it. I know you can do it. There are people, again, that can match criteria, skills, qualifications, but the big X factor is work ethic, attitude, integrity, and initiative. So if you have those 4 things, it's going to be a big advantage to you, and I know that it's going to propel your career as a launch pad into a different world. So I'm excited to keep on this journey with you, and I look forward to the next session.